put it on your heart, I swear. At times you make me angry, but I know that it could always be worse, be worse, be worse. Baby, I'm trying to forget you. Baby, I know everything.
Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. What is going on? Today, you and I, we're talking about this QJMotor SRT 500 or 502, I don't know, I forgot the name. And yeah, I just decided to speak about all of those small to middle displacement adventure bikes, because new MT450 is coming and I feel as if I have to have some decent experience in order to compare that bike to its competitors. So yesterday I was riding Cove 525X and today I ride this bike. I decided to ride those bikes back to back because I think that this way I'll be able to scrutinize those bikes in the most efficient way, so to speak. And I'll tell you guys, the first impression I got out of those bikes is bad. It was bad. Like yesterday when I rode Cove for the first time, I was like, yo, what is going on with this bike? It has so much vibrations. The noise which is coming out from pretty much every single detail is horrible. It doesn't look reliable. Like, it looks as if it's like really poorly built. And I had pretty much the same feeling, to be honest, about this TRK. Even though this bike is new, like it has 3,000 kilometers on it, but I still had the same feeling, to be honest. They don't feel impressive, they don't feel and ride impressive when you ride for the first time. But over time, the more you ride, the more you like those. Yesterday, I just got into that tiny accident on that Cove 525. And guys, I mean, I was saying how bad that bike was, that it feels as if it's made of junk and so on. But honestly speaking, I fell on a decent speed and bike like has no damage whatsoever. Of course, partially it's because I had crash bars and so on, but still. Alright, so the second speed goes all the way up to 94 kilometers per hour. Important information, I guess. So this bike has 47 Newton meters of torque and around 50 horsepower. This bike is still pretty torquey if you ask me, but comparing to Cove, it does feel less snappy, it feels slower, and it definitely feels less maneuverable and heavier. So this time, second gear went up to 91 kilometers per hour, so this is strange. And the third gear goes up to 124 kilometers per hour. So when you're moving slowly, you feel the weight of the bike, the gears aren't as smooth, the clutch is engaging too early, so you constantly think about that. But yeah, when you go fast, the bike feels great. Alright, and the brakes are great, just like freaking ABS is engaging. Just don't like that. Way too early, way too early. So much so that sometimes it's a bit scary, you know, like, cause you never know, because this is like my first time riding this bike, so I did not get used to this ABS engagement so early. And it can freak you out a little bit, to be honest, so you need to keep it in mind. Where are you going? Where are you going? I was saying that I don't think that lightweight is always a good thing, and in terms of Cove, I feel like they have sacrificed a lot in order to reach that lightweight. But this time, speaking about TRK, something tells me, guys, that this bike is way heavier, less maneuverable, but still, it feels as if they have sacrificed a lot. Actually, when I look at the bike, it looks really good, it looks very high quality, but again, as soon as I start riding this machine, like, it just exhibits this like enormous noise. It's not a good sound, it's just like annoying noise. and I just don't really understand why. This is my second adventure bike from the same displacement, and I thought that Cove had that problem, but right now as I ride this QJMotor, like, it's pretty annoying to be honest. I was expecting this bike to be better built, and this bike doesn't have this advantage. However, this bike has one really solid advantage over Cove, and this advantage, guys, is brakes. So this time this bike comes with Brembo brakes. To my knowledge, we have 4-piston Brembo caliper from the front, we have 320mm dual disc, and from behind we have single 260mm disc. Brakes are much better than on Cove, even though this bike is heavier, but brakes are way better. However, there is still one problem, and the problem is ABS. ABS is pretty intrusive, to be honest. So when I ride this bike and I brake rapidly, ABS starts engaging really fast. I wish ABS would be less noticeable. But again, brakes are way better than in Cove, so this is a good thing. Ergonomic wise, this bike is pretty much the same thing as Cove. We have 820mm seat height. I'm 1 meter 85 centimeters, so for me, for my height, the bike feels really good. But again, once I'm running with a passenger, still I feel as if the handlebars are too close, and my arms get a bit tired over time, which I don't like. But when I ride by myself, I don't have this problem. While I'm standing in a traffic jam, I'll tell you that this bike has 19.5 liter gas tank, and this is good. This is really nice. We have 5-inch TFT dash. We have pretty much everything we need, but to be honest, it's not as easy to read as Cove's. One thing that I don't really like about this bike is the gearbox. This time the gears are really hard to shift, not because of the clutch, but because of the pedal itself. So the pedal, which is in charge of shifting gears, sometimes is lagging a bit, and given that my left foot right now is a bit compromised, I feel as if the gearbox isn't good at all, especially for injured people like me. Speaking about the suspension, I cannot say a lot, guys. Actually, the suspension is fully adjustable, but somehow it's still not as good as I expected it to be. The price of this bike here in China, of this particular bike, is 42,000 RMB. This bike is torquey, it pulls. Compared to Cove, it feels just a little bit slower, I would say, just a little bit less torquey. But I would say it's more stable, which is a good thing. So the heavy weight of this bike this time allows me to feel more confident in terms of the stability of the bike, which is the cool thing. The front end of the bike is solidly planted on the asphalt, which I didn't have with the Cove 525. Fun factor wise, I think that Cove is still a better bike. It's more fun to ride. But reliability wise and stability wise, confidence wise, given the brakes of this machine, this bike would be a better option. I can still maneuver around, but it doesn't feel as good as on that Cove, to be honest. You see, if this is an obstacle, I can still swerve around like that, and I'm not the most skillful rider, you know, but you can still do that actually. Yeah, so the bike is heavier, which means that it's more stable, and it's less maneuverable than Cove, but still maneuverable enough, you know. So I don't really know whether heavy weight of this bike is a disadvantage or an advantage. Tell me what you think, guys. It's really important for me. But so far, I would say that this bike feels good. Again, the biggest problem of this bike for me is this crazy vibrations and the noise which is coming out of different parts, which makes this bike feel cheap. But actually, this bike isn't cheap, and it has all the technology you can think of. And yeah, this is the great bike. Yeah, great bike. But somehow still, I feel a bit cramped when I'm riding with a passenger, and I have no idea why. I just don't really know how to explain that. Oh, guys, listen. There's like a straight line. This time we go down the hill. Let's see how fast we can go, shall we? All right. Let's try. All right, wasn't too bad, right, guys? And I did not slip into neutral this time. Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So this time I talk about SRT 500. Actually I'm still confused about the name because over here we can read SRT, over here we can read TRK, so yeah, tell me if you know more about the name. But yeah, this time we're talking about this bike. And actually I've ridden this bike for around 100 or something kilometers, and my first impressions were bad, but the more I ride, the more I like this bike. And I guess we need to talk about those small details, right? And of course, the first part, the most important thing I want to talk about is the engine. So this is a parallel twin, liquid cooled, of course, 59 horsepower and 47 or 48 newton meters of torque at 5,500 RPM. This bike is pretty snappy, pretty torquey. It does feel fast, but compared to Cove, it does feel a bit slower, a bit less snappy. But again, this bike is heavier. It has steel frame, so this is a steel tubular frame, and the carb weight of this bike is something around 235 kilograms. I didn't find any information, but this is what I was told. And to be honest, yeah, this bike feels definitely heavier than Cove, but on the other hand, on the bright side, this bike feels more stable and it's still pretty maneuverable. So again, the more I ride this bike, the more I like it. I feel like this is just a matter of your personal preference. And on top of that, I would say that you need to get accustomed to this type of bike because adventure bikes, they're a bit different from naked bikes, from sport bikes. Because I'm not a big fan of those ADV bikes. I feel like my first kilometers riding these bikes weren't very pleasant, even though I really liked MT800. But the more I ride those small to middle displacement ADV bikes, the more I like them. Speaking about the design, guys, I would say that this bike isn't very different from Cove. Actually, it looks bulkier, it looks a bit bigger, it looks thicker, but I don't like the design too much. But again, it's really hard for me to judge the design because I'm not a fan of these bikes in general. I'm not a fan of the way they look. So I guess I need to ask your opinion this time. Tell me what you think about the design of this bike. I want to talk about brakes, of course. So over here we have dual-sided 320mm disc, which has 4-piston Brembo caliper. And guys, the brakes of this bike are good. Even though the bike is heavy, but they stop the machine really well. The only thing I really don't like is the ABS. This bike has dual channel ABS, but the ABS is way too noticeable, way too intrusive. So it does engage too early, which I don't like. And from behind, we have 260mm single disc. And to my knowledge, this is 2-piston Brembo caliper. The rear brake is pretty cool, actually. Over here we can see the change, so it doesn't have a belt drive. And I don't really know whether you notice, guys, or not, but this bike comes equipped with alloy wheels. So we have alloy rims. We do not have wire-spoked ones. And this is the big difference between Cove and this bike. So this bike is more street-oriented. One thing I want to mention is, of course, the suspension. Actually, even though this is hydraulic, fully adjustable suspension, I still feel as if it's too rigid for my liking. So over here, as we can see, we have an upside down fork. It's really thick. It does look nice, but again, when I ride, I don't feel too good. I just wish it would be a bit softer, to be honest, because every single time I run over a bump, I feel as if my joints, absorb the shock, not the fork. It comes equipped with those 3 cases. Right now I have only one because I'm not a big fan of those cases. Again, when I ride with a passenger, I feel a bit cramped just because of the case, I guess. So my passenger is really close to me and the handlebars are pretty close to me. So I feel as if I am squeezed in between, and my hands, my arms, they just like cramped, and it feels as if I'm just doing a bench press. Honorable mention, guys, is that levers are adjustable, so you can adjust them if you don't like something. But there's one thing I wanted to mention. When I ride, I used to use only these 2 fingers to utilize clutch lever, and unfortunately this time the clutch engages way too soon, so I have to use all my 4 fingers because there's just no space for these 2 fingers. So this is a problem for me. but I guess this is just a matter of preference. This is 19.5 liter tank, so it's really handy. You can gas it up and ride for a long time. And speaking about ergonomics, the seat is 820 millimeters. Let's listen to the way it sounds, shall we? Okay. So this is the way it sounds. Nothing special. Let's rev it up. Yeah, actually this is a downside for me. I don't really like the way it sounds, but tell me what you think. Alright guys, listen, I feel like I have to hop on the bike. I'll keep on riding, and let's see what I have to say. The more I ride, the more I like this machine. My first impressions were pretty poor and bad. However, now, as I rode this bike for, I don't know, 100 or something kilometers, I can tell you that this bike is really nice. It feels good. You just need to know why you buy this bike. So if you like adventure bikes, if you like big tow bikes which have decent off-road capabilities, and you like something stable with nice brakes, this is your choice, guys. This is your choice. Again, power-wise, this power is more than enough for a city. I feel like it will be more than enough for 90% of people. But again, if you would ask my opinion, I would still go with a more, I don't know, powerful option, such as, I don't know, MT800 or maybe TRK 700 from the same brand. So yeah, this is pretty much what I think about this bike. Please let me know what you think about this machine. Hit me up in the section below, in the comment section below. And as always, guys, please stay safe, and I see you in the next videos. Bye, everybody.
Didn't think you